heat, and your grid is as follows. On pole position is Tim Gerhards, last year's 2019 BNL Karting Series Minimax champion. The one half of a set of twin brothers. Farin Mega lines up alongside in his second and final heats. We'll then have Oscar Christiansen and Patrick's Knowles Lokmelis. Christian de Klein and Milan Ritter round out the top 6 positions. Ahead of Luke Neeson, Tommy van der Stroys, Arvid Rosen and Magnus Pedersen from Denmark, who ran out the top 10. Nikita Genza, Maurice Schmeis, Germany's Austin Lee, Max Knappen and Lucas Schoenmakers from the Netherlands ran out the top 15. Marius Roos from Denmark, Tom Brache from Belgium, Nathan Schaap, Astrid Admloff and Joris Peters ran out the top 20. Rounding out the 29 strong, it is Maxim Sachurko from Belarus, Enzo Bol from the Netherlands, Alex Mikos from Poland, Larke Ron Sorensen from Denmark, Variato Wildemann from Germany, Gilles Chloé from Belgium, Roman Sakovsky from Belarus, Nick Gerhards from the Netherlands, and Daniel Ginchard, who was excluded from qualifying due to a technical infringement yesterday evening by the smallest of tolerances. But we have seen, as Henry Baudet would say, a top gear from the rear from Mr. Ginchard before. Remember, BNL last year, when he was pulled off the grid, started from the pre-grid and made his way fighting back at Marienburg. Could we see a repeat? He showcased pace with KR Sport at the Winter Cup at Campos. He fought his way back through the field in the early heat stages. Let's see what he does this time. 7 minutes on the clock, plus 1 additional lap. Grab a seat, hold on to your hats. 29 drivers. This is where things really start upping the ante. The anticipation is that thin, you could cut it like a knife through warm butter. But here we go. Red lights on the gantry. They go into the tram lines. We are racing! Great hole shot from Gerhards to get the initial advantage over Oscar Christiansen. And there is an absolute pandemonium-stricken kart. Well, there's one kart that's actually ended up the wrong way. That could be Christian de Klein. As there's more incidents, and that's off of. Now there is a SP Motorsport driver that is now getting back into the kart. So if I'm going to keep my eyes out for a replay on that, because that was they all went steaming into turn 1, but Nick Gerhards leads from Oscar Christiansen as Farin Mega trying to go up the inside into turn 9. That could be on Milan Ritter. So Ritter now up into P3. So looks like no, Christian de Klein. Now here's the replay. Let's have a look. It all kicks off from around about 15th position. Oh, now that was a big hit. A big hit, but the good thing is the drivers managed to carry on competing. So it is really, really tense when you get 29 drivers, and when I tell you that Dan Ginchard is now up into 20th. So he has taken a bit of an advantage as there is more positional changes going through turn 6. That's a real good position, camera position there from our crew here. But at the minute, Tim Gerhards is trying to break the momentum for the 2 behind, and that is Milan Ritter and Oscar Christiansen. Christian de Klein is being followed by Farin Mega, Patrick Knowles Lokmelis and Magnus Pedersen. Tommy van der Stroy's up to 8th and could move forward. We saw in his first heat, he got P4 at the end of it. So Larke Ron Sorensen is out. That's a real shame for the young Danish driver in the 232. And I think Nick Gerhards was actually, so both twin brothers in this race, and Nick Gerhards has just come through to complete a lap and is about 18.5 seconds off of his twin brother, who is leading, as there's plenty of action that is happening down into what is turn 7. And Arvid Rosen, that's 12th position. So Rosen is battling away with Nathan Sharp, Austin Lee, formerly of Portland, Oregon, but now Nuremberg, Germany. Hence the fact whilst the youngster running with a German license and running under the same stable as Fahin Mega, who's currently in 5th at the minute. Amluf up into 18th behind Dan Ginchard. Now Ginchard is making headway. Ginchard's up into 13th, and we are only on lap number 4. I did say this might happen, so Ginchard, let's see his pace. 57.188, the fastest driver out there, however, is the 2:18 of Tom Brache, who's currently running in P10, as there's definitely some great action happening as the race has now come to that point where it's starting to get into a rhythm, but it's not as chaotic as what we saw on lap 1. But in the meantime, Christian de Klein has got past Oscar Christiansen for 3rd place, coming through turn 9. Farin Mega trying to get the jump on the Dane, going through into turn number 12, having exited quite neatly out of turn 11, and gets on the back bumper of the 262, down in towards turns 1 and 2. Decline's gone for 2nd. Decline's gone for 2nd. He's got it. That was neatly timed up the inside of Milan Ritter. So effectively, that means that Christian de Klein has to decimate over the next 2 3/4 minutes plus an additional lap, a probably around a 1.5 second gap, because Tim Gerhardt has not looked back. He's kept the blinkers on. He's kept concentrating on the job at hand, which is to lead when the lights go out and get to the checkered flag first without having to worry about the opposition. But I am now seeing that Tommy van der Stroys looks to be in 6th position. Again, another great performance from the young Dutchman. But now it is the 3-way scrap over 3rd between Ritter, Christiansen and Mega is starting to heating up. That's going to allow Tommy van der Stroys to close in. But then you have to look behind the 254. Lucas Schoenmakers, Tom Braken, Patrick's Knowles Lockmellis as Mega right on the back bumper of Christiansen, but has to lift off heading into turn 7 to then put the anchors on. Max Knappen up into P15. Austin Lee just outside of the top 15 in 17th position. Dan Ginchard is absolute. Oh, it's a 3-way scrap for 3rd going into turn 10. Farin Mega's gone up the inside. Oh, they clatter into each other. And that is the 220 of Milan Ritter that gets spat out as a result of it. Mega went for it, had the line, and this has absolutely turned it on its head. With literally moments to go in the race, we have just over a minute to go, and I'm not liking what race control are going to have to look at right now, because that was, if we can get a replay of that, I'd love to take another look at it and look at it in a bit more detail, but it has changed everything in that sort of respect. Right, let's have a look. Mega, oh no, Mega went up the inside. Christensen was sandwiched in the middle. Ritter and Mega go literally diagonally in. Christensen's got nowhere to go. That was just absolute carnage there. But there is still light at the end of the tunnel for one particular driver who's now in 9th position. Dan Ginchard from stone dead last is going not just for 8th, he's going to try and go for 7th. He's giving a bump assist for Lucas Schoenmakers, who decides to think better of it. But Ginchard has absolutely scythed his way through the field. So Milan Ritter is a lap down, unfortunately, after that turn 10 skirmish. And Ginchard up the inside of Schoenmakers. That's P7. We're now on to the penultimate lap of the race. So Ginchard has got Tommy van der Stroys in his crosshairs. Oh, And he's going to go for it. There he goes up the inside of the young Dutchman through turn 9. Nicely composed there from Dan Ginchard. He's just decided to go, I've got nothing to lose. I've got absolutely nothing to lose. And he's going to go for it. And Van der Stroys was about a second ahead of, second behind Farin Mega. Now Mega, between him and Dan Ginchard, there is a gap of only 6.5 tenths of a second. And that is closing. That is closing dramatically in that respect. So Ginchard will have 6 more turns after turn 6 to try and get P5 from P29. And he's closed up to Mega in the braking zone. Just behind Tommy van der Stroys has got Lucas Schoenmakers and Magnus Pedersen just behind. As Christian de Klein has been closing the gap on Tim Gerhards, who has stayed at the front of the field. And there is a time penalty, and that is being given to Oscar Christiansen. So Christiansen will get a 5-second time penalty as Tim Gerhards takes a junior Rotax victory. Christian de Klein in second. Now, Oscar Christiansen, I'm going to wait to see what it says on the time penalty side of things, because that will drop him possibly out of the top 5. Tom Braken, 4th. Farin Mega, 5th. Dan Ginchard from stone dead last to 6th. Tommy van der Stroys in 7th. Lucas Schoenmakers in 8th. Magnus Pedersen in 9th. Patrick Snows Nokmelis in 10th. Maurice Schmeis, 11th. Arvid Rosen, 12th. Ahead of Marius Roos, Max Knappen, Luke Nason, Nikita Gense, Alex Mikos, Austin Lee, Enzo Ball, and Joris Peters rounding out the top 20. Astrid Amlöf from Sweden, 21st, ahead of Sokowski. Nick Gerhards, who recovered to 23rd, ahead of Germany's Variato Wildemann. Gilles Clouet, Nathan Schaap and Maxim Sachurko 27th, with Larkeron Sorensen being eliminated on the very first lap of the race, and Milan Ritter now unfortunately on lap number 7 after that turn 10 skirmish, retiring on lap 7 itself.